In the endless expanse of space, a solitary human vessel glides with quiet determination, its unremarkable exterior belying a fire of ingenuity within. It drifts among distant stars and dark voids, a silent emissary of a species that has battle-fated itself. Conceived in desperate times and born of countless hours of innovation, this craft is more than a mere assembly of metal and circuitry. It is an embodiment of human resilience, a living testament to a spirit that refuses to be crushed by overwhelming odds. The vessel's design is understated, a product of necessity rather than ostentation. Every line, every component, is a nod to a history of struggle and triumph. In secret workshops scattered across far-flung outposts, engineers and scientists harnessed limited resources to forge technology that defied the expectations of more established, seemingly invincible adversaries. They built not for show, but for survival. Every modification and retrofit a stroke of brilliance in the art of making the most out of the scarce and the overlooked. In an era when many consider flamboyant displays of power the only path to dominance, this ship was engineered to surprise, a beacon of clever adaptation amid a fleet of extravagant war machines. For its creators, the vessel symbolized more than just a means to an end. It carried the weight of hope and the promise of redemption, a promise that even in the darkest times, ingenuity could light a way forward. Each component was meticulously chosen and hidden behind layers of apparent simplicity. Beneath its humble surface lay experimental systems capable of adapting in real time, learning from the enemy's every move, and unleashing countermeasures with pinpoint precision. This was a design that revered subtlety. Its hidden power was a secret weapon, one that would only reveal itself when the moment was dire enough to demand a reckoning. Out there, in the cold reaches of space, an enemy fleet watched with condescending certainty. These adversaries, masters of their own advanced technology, had long prided themselves on superior firepower and intricate armadas. They saw the human vessel not as a threat, but as an anomaly, an outdated remnant of a species that had seemingly lost its edge. Their sensors, honed by centuries of conflict, registered the craft as weak, its meager outlines and muted energy readings a mockery of the grandeur they were accustomed to. In their minds, this craft was destined for a swift and unceremonious end, a minor obstacle to be brushed aside on a path to their inevitable dominance. Within the enemy ranks, arrogance reigned. Confident in their own overwhelming might, the alien commanders dismissed the human craft as inconsequential, a sentimental relic unworthy of serious concern. Their assessments, delivered in tones of thinly veiled disdain, revealed a collective hubris that would soon prove to be their undoing. Every demeaning remark and every scoff was a testament to their belief that the vessel was nothing more than a frail whisper amid the roar of a superior civilization. They failed to recognize that the ship's unassuming form was a deliberate choice, a strategy engineered to lull adversaries into a false sense of security. Yet, as the enemy's fleet began its relentless advance, an almost imperceptible hum emerged from the vessel's inner workings. This was not a malfunction or random noise. It was a quiet activation of hidden systems, a subtle prelude to the moment when dormant power would burst forth. The hum resonated through the corridors of the ship like a heartbeat, a rhythmic reminder that beneath the calm exterior lay circuits primed for a transformation that would shatter preconceived notions of weakness. It was a sound that few would notice, but one that carried the weight of a promise that every setback, every moment of doubt, was merely the calm before a storm that would redefine the meaning of strength. In the silence of space, as the enemy's laughter and derision echoed faintly across communication channels, the human vessel continued its steady course. Its every motion was a quiet defiance, an unspoken challenge to those who underestimated it. The ship's systems, honed through countless simulations and secret trials, worked in unison as they awaited the precise moment to strike. There was no need for grand proclamations or elaborate warnings. The transformation was set to be as swift and unanticipated as a star's sudden burst of light. In the unyielding void, the vessel was both a relic of hard-fought battles and a harbinger of an impending reckoning that would catch its foes completely off guard. This quiet interval, stretching out like a single, measured breath before the clash, held within it the distilled essence of human spirit. Every second was imbued with the resolve of those who had poured their blood, sweat, and dreams into its creation. It was a resolute affirmation that true power often comes not from ostentatious displays or overwhelming firepower, but from the ingenuity to turn perceived weakness into an advantage. The vessel was a canvas on which the creators had painted a narrative of survival, a narrative that defied the enemy's dismissive gaze and promised that even the smallest spark could ignite a blaze capable of consuming the darkness. As distant stars bore silent witness to the vessel's journey, the air of complacency among the enemy began to fray. Unbeknownst to them, every calculated movement, every covert adjustment, was a step toward an imminent metamorphosis. The ship's hidden arsenal, its network of adaptive algorithms, and its resilient framework were not just relics of past ingenuity. They were the very embodiment of a future where determination and innovation reigned supreme. In the quiet expanse, the vessel was a silent sentinel, a keeper of secrets and a custodian of humanity's unyielding hope. Each passing moment deepened the mystery of this humble craft, as it were gathering strength in silence for a final, awe-inspiring display. Its creators knew that the enemy's arrogance was their greatest vulnerability, a fatal oversight that would soon come to light. In the balance between calm and chaos, the ship was poised to rewrite the rules of engagement, a transformation that would shatter the veneer of weakness and unveil the true potential hidden within. The quiet hum, the steady glide to the cosmos, and the silent promise of unleashed power all converge into a single, defining moment. The point at which the underestimated vessel would rise to challenge the very fabric of fate, proving that human determination could overcome even the cold indifference of the stars. In the vast, dark silence of space, the unassuming human vessel drifted with a calm purpose as distant signals of approaching enemy forces began to punctuate the quiet. The ship's sensors, ever vigilant, registered the gradual emergence of a formidable armada moving in tight, precise formations. Each incoming data packet confirmed what the enemy believed, that this solitary craft was little more than a relic of a bygone era, a minor speck against an overwhelming tide of advanced technology. Yet, beneath its modest exterior, every circuit and processor stirred with a readiness born of countless trials and unwavering resolve. The enemy's approach was methodical, their vessels gliding into position with the confidence of those who had never encountered true defiance. Their energy missions pulsed steadily, a rhythmic testament to a technological superiority that they assumed would render any resistance futile. In contrast, the human ship maintained a deliberate silence, its systems busy assimilating every fragment of data. The vessel's adaptive algorithms, honed through years of clandestine development, worked tirelessly to construct a precise picture of the adversary's formations, speed, and vulnerabilities. Every pulse and flicker of its instruments was a silent note in the symphony of calculated anticipation, a measured preparation for the confrontation that was about to redefine the assumed hierarchy of power. As the distance between the enemy and the vessel diminished, a brief but significant exchange of energy heralded the first contact. A single, swift beam of alien fire grazed the hull, its impact barely perceptible against the backdrop of distant stars. Instead of recoiling, the ship absorbed the strike with a poised efficiency, its defensive matrices activating in perfect synchrony. This initial engagement, though fleeting, was a clear statement. The vessel was not the fragile remnant its foes had presumed it to be. Instead, it was a repository of hidden strength, capable of transforming each calculated impact into a stepping stone toward a greater, more formidable response. The enemy's probes and intermittent attacks soon escalated into a series of rapid, determined strikes. Their lasers cut to the vacuum with unrelenting precision, each pulse a display of their engineered might and assured conquest. Yet every offensive maneuver was met with a fluid series of evasive actions, a dance of calculated movements that transformed what appeared to be defensive retreats into opportunities for strategic reassessment. The human craft did not respond with the wild, unbridled fury of a desperate fighter. Rather, it executed each maneuver with the deliberate focus of an intellect that had anticipated every possible permutation of the coming battle. With every exchange, the enemy's confidence began to waver, as their meticulously planned attacks encountered a force that not only defied their expectations, but also recalibrated the very equations of engagement. Amid the frenetic exchange of energy, the ship's internal systems surged with quiet intensity. Its hidden algorithms processed a barrage of enemy fire, learning and adapting at a rate that rendered the attacker's tactical patterns obsolete. There was no sudden declaration of victory, only a subtle shift in the rhythm of combat. a measured counterbalance to the aggression of the enemy. The vessel's sensors detected the mounting frustration within the enemy ranks as their synchronized assaults devolved into erratic bursts, each one failing to pierce the ship's layered defenses. In the midst of this chaotic ballet, a latent promise began to emerge. A promise that the very ingenuity deemed inconsequential by the enemy was now poised to rewrite the narrative of this conflict. Every calculated maneuver of the human ship served to expose the cracks in the enemy's overconfidence. The initial dismissiveness of the adversaries was now met with a steadily rising tide of precise, deliberate responses that turned their own momentum against them. The vessel's advanced systems, refined through endless simulations and secret trials, transformed each feint and probing attack into a repository of actionable intelligence. This intelligence, in turn, fed into a relentless process of adaptation, allowing the ship to evolve in real time. As the enemy pressed forward with a barrage of energy blasts and coordinated strikes, the human craft began to weave these interactions into a tapestry of countermeasures that grew ever more complex and unpredictable. In a decisive moment that marked the threshold of change, the enemy's routine aggression faltered under the weight of their miscalculations. The ship's defenses, once perceived as a mere shield, revealed themselves as a dynamic, responsive system capable of turning each incoming threat into a catalyst for its own empowerment. A surge of energy pulsed through the vessel's core, a quiet, deliberate activation of a network of concealed systems that had long awaited the precise conditions for their emergence. This surge was not heralded by an explosion or an overt declaration. It was a silent, internal crescendo that signaled the end of passive endurance and beginning an offensive that would soon alter the balance of power. With each passing second, the human vessel's hidden capabilities coalesced into a formidable force, transforming the initial cautious skirmishes into groundwork for a decisive counteroffensive. Its every calculated evasion and measured response was an implicit challenge to the enemy's arrogance, a reminder that true power was not always visible on the surface. The enemy, once so certain of their superiority, began to experience the disconcerting reality of a force that adapted with fluidity and precision they had never anticipated. Their coordinated attacks, executed with the confidence of absolute certainty, now met an enemy that defied categorization, a ship that had transformed from an underestimated relic into a dynamic, ever-evolving threat. In the charged atmosphere of this unfolding battle, the enemy's meticulously constructed formations began to crumble. Their strategies, built on assumptions of overwhelming strength and predictable behavior, were dismantled piece by a vessel that operated on the principles of adaptive ingenuity. Each calculated maneuver of the human craft served not only to deflect an incoming assault, but also to erode the enemy's confidence, turning their own momentum against them. The quiet, unyielding determination of the vessel became a fulcrum upon which the scales of power began to tip, a testament to a design philosophy that valued resilience and adaptability over sheer, ostentatious power. The slow, inexorable shift in the battle was a profound demonstration of the ship's true nature. It was a force that did not need to shout its intentions on the rooftops. Its actions, precise and unyielding, spoke volumes. The enemy's dismissive laughter and smug confidence were gradually replaced by uncertainty and a creeping apprehension. In the relentless cadence of energy exchanges and tactical recalibrations, the human vessel revealed itself as an embodiment of the unassailable truth that ingenuity, when honed to perfection, could overcome even the most daunting adversaries. As the battle surged toward its turning point, every pulse of the ship's systems and every adaptive response was a silent, resolute promise that the era of underestimation was over, and that the true measure of strength lay in the unyielding spirit of human innovation. A low, insistent surge rippled to the vessel's core as hidden systems, long lying dormant, began to awaken in perfect synchrony. Every sensor, every channel of data, and every line of code aligned in a silent chorus of imminent action. In that charged moment, the ship transformed from a quiet observer into a living embodiment of calculated defiance. The ambient hum that had once signified calm now vibrated with a fierce promise, a promise that the time for concealment was over, and that every concealed secret of human ingenuity would soon be unleashed upon an unsuspecting foe. In an instant, the vessel's covert weaponry roared to life. Without a moment of hesitation, a cascade of energy erupted from its hidden arrays, shattering the stillness of space with a brilliance that belied its previously modest appearance. Concentrated beams of plasma, honed through countless hours of research and refined in the crucible of adversity, streaked across the void with unerring precision. Each projectile, each searing burst of energy, was deployed with an economy of motion that underscored the efficiency of human design. The enemy, once confident in their superior firepower, now found their expectations brutally overturned by the sudden display of overwhelming offensive might. The transformation was swift and uncompromising. As the first salvo blasted outward, the alien fleet's sensors registered a torrent of energy that defied conventional predictions. The targeted strikes disrupted the enemy's formations, each explosion a calculated punctuation in a narrative of retribution. The precision of the assault was breathtaking. What might have been dismissed as mere luck was, in fact, the culmination of years of preparation and an unyielding commitment to adaptability. Every shot was delivered with surgical accuracy, designed to exploit even the smallest vulnerabilities in the enemy's defenses. The ship's internal systems processed each impact with lightning speed, recalibrating tactics in real time and turning every counterattack into an opportunity to escalate the offensive. Within the enemy's ranks, chaos began to supplant confidence. The advanced defensive systems they had long relied upon buckled under the relentless barrage. Energy shields flickered and collapsed as concentrated blasts tore through them with relentless efficiency. The enemy commanders, whose strategies had been built on the assumption of an easily subdued target, now scrambled to mount response. Their meticulously orchestrated battle plans disintegrated in the face of a force that was as fluid and unpredictable as it was devastatingly effective. In the midst of the onslaught, the once dismissive arrogance of the alien fleet gave way to an emerging sense of desperation and disarray. Every explosion, every pulse of radiant energy, reinforced the undeniable truth that the human vessel was no fragile relic. It was a dynamic, evolving powerhouse. The internal algorithms that had been silently gathering and analyzing data from previous skirmishes now orchestrated a symphony of calculated strikes, turning the enemy's every action against them. With each volley of energy, the ship absorbed vital information, refining its approach and honing its precision. The enemy's coordinated attacks, once a hallmark of their superior technology, now appeared erratic and disjointed as the human ship's adaptive countermeasures rendered their patterns obsolete. The rapid succession of calculated high-impact strikes left little room for error on the part of the alien forces, who were forced to contend with a barrage that was both relentless and entirely unforeseen. As the battle reached a fevered pitch, the void of space lit up with the brilliant interplay of light and energy. The human ship, once underestimated and disregarded, now radiated the full extent of its concealed prowess. Each beam of plasma and every explosive burst became a testament to the unyielding spirit of human innovation. The offensive was not merely a display of raw firepower. It was an eloquent declaration of strategic brilliance. The ship's every action was executed with precision, turning the very fabric of the enemy's formation into a mosaic of vulnerability. Explosions erupted in rapid succession, and the shock waves they produced rippled through space like ripples in a cosmic pond, each one a resounding blow to the enemy's overconfidence. Amid the tumult of energy exchanges and shattered defenses, the enemy's structure began to collapse under the weight of its own hubris. Their initial confidence, so firmly rooted in their perceived technological superiority, was systematically dismantled by the sheer force of the human counteroffensive. As formations broke apart and individual vessels veered into disorganized clusters, it became clear that the enemy was grappling with a reality far beyond their calculations. Their once assured orders gave way to frantic attempts at regrouping, a desperate scramble in the face of a force that defied every preconception they had held about the human craft. The rapid reconfiguration of tactics on the part of the ship, guided by its advanced learning algorithms, meant that every enemy maneuver was met with an even more efficient counterstrike, a relentless cycle of action that left no time for recovery. In that defining moment, every system aboard the ship seemed to pulse with shared determination. It was as if the entirety of human resolve, distilled into a single explosive instant, surged forth in a luminous display of retribution. The energy release was not random, but the result of meticulous design and years of unyielding perseverance. It was an embodiment of philosophy that prized innovation over brute strength, adaptability over static power. Each calculated shot was a reminder that true strength lies not in the ostentatious display of might, but in the quiet, relentless pursuit of excellence, an excellence that had been forged in the crucible of countless challenges and hard-won victories. The chaos that ensued on the enemy's side was both swift and unrelenting. The alien fleet, unable to reconcile the sudden transformation of their target, found itself overwhelmed by a tactical onslaught that rendered its once formidable defenses moot. The concentrated assault not only dismantled their immediate formations, but also sent shockwaves through their command structure, undermining the very foundation of their strategic planning. The precise, unyielding barrage of energy attacks transformed the battlefield into a dynamic arena where every moment counted and every decision was critical. The enemy, now reeling from the unexpected turn of events, was forced to confront the unsettling possibility that their long-held assumptions had been fatally flawed. In the wake of the opening salvo, the human vessel continued its relentless advance. Its every maneuver was a masterclass in tactical ingenuity, a series of calculated actions that left no doubt as to the superiority of its design. The barrage of firepower flowed seamlessly, a continuous rhythm of destruction that left the enemy scrambling for an effective response. With every passing second, the ship's adaptive systems absorbed the latest data from the battlefield and translated it into further refinements of its strategy. The ensuing countermeasures were not reactionary, but anticipatory, striking at the heart of enemy formations with precision that defied logic. The relentless pace of the assault underscored one undeniable truth. The underestimated human craft was now the fulcrum upon which the balance of power had irrevocably shifted. In that critical juncture, as the echoes of energy blasts and the fading glows of shattered enemy shields painted a stark portrait of defeat, the human ship stood as a living testament to the limitless potential of human innovation. Its transformation from a vessel deemed weak and insignificant to an unstoppable force of calculated power was a moment of clarity amid the chaos, a moment that resonated with a profound understanding that true strength is born from adaptability, precision, and an unyielding refusal to be defined by appearances. The overwhelming surge of offensive might, executed with both art and precision, marked a turning point that would forever alter the trajectory of the conflict. Every fragment of shattered defense and every ripple of concentrated energy bore silent witness to the undeniable truth that the human spirit, when honed and unleashed at its zenith, could achieve the impossible. In the wake of that decisive moment, the battlefield itself seemed to acknowledge the shift. The enemy's once indomitable confidence was now nothing more than a fleeting memory, replaced by a stark realization of their own vulnerability. The human ship, now radiating an aura of relentless determination and unfettered ingenuity, pressed forward with a pace that left little room for retreat. Its every action was a powerful reminder that beneath the unassuming exterior lay a reservoir of strength that could not be measured by conventional standards. The surge of energy, the calculated precision, and the rapid adaptability had converged into a singular moment of victory, a moment that redefined not only the rules of engagement, but also the very essence of what it meant to be unstoppable. In the relentless tide of conflict, where every action was measured against the cold calculus of survival, the human vessel had emerged as an emblem of unyielding innovation. Its transformation, marked by a burst of concentrated firepower and a seamless orchestration of adaptive strategy, was a declaration that even the most underestimated force could rise to challenge destiny itself. The shifting dynamics of the battlefield, punctuated by each meticulously executed strike, echoed a timeless truth: that true power is not the product of mere numbers or ostentatious display, but a quiet, unrelenting drive to surpass every limitation and defy every expectation. In the quiet aftermath of the conflict, the silence of the cosmos became a canvas for both reflection and renewal. The human vessel, its hull scarred yet unbowed, drifted steadily among the remnants of enemy formations. Debris scattered like echoes of shattered arrogance bore silent witness to the fierce exchanges that had upended the balance of power. The gentle hum of cooling engines and recalibrating sensors filled the void, a soft cadence reminding all that every calculated maneuver had transformed enemy overconfidence into ruin. Each mark upon its surface, every patch of scorched metal, recounted a struggle where precision and ingenuity had overcome brute force. Now, the craft stood as a lone guardian of a legacy won through sheer determination and the relentless spirit of a people who had refused to be defined by their perceived frailties. Every fragment of wreckage and every lingering pulse of energy served as testament not only to the physical cost of victory, but also to profound impact of strategic brilliance. The enemy's once mighty fleet lay in disarray, reduced to drifting husks that testified to the catastrophic error of underestimating human resolve. Their shattered vessels, abandoned in the cold dark of space, symbolized more than defeat. They embodied a lesson in hubris and the price of complacency. In that vast emptiness, the human ship's quiet endurance transformed the battlefield into a somber gallery of lessons learned and promises made. It was an unspoken vow that each sacrifice would inform future actions. Every miscalculation would become a stepping stone toward even greater triumphs. As the vessel continued its solitary voyage through the debris-strewn expanse, its internal systems set to work with methodical precision. Adaptive networks, honed by both simulation and the crucible of battle, began analyzing every data point from the encounter. This process was not merely technical. It was a moment of introspection for the ship, a digital meditation on tactics employed, errors corrected, and the strategies that had reshaped the tide of battle. Each byte of recorded information was a silent tribute to the engineers, tacticians, and visionaries whose collective genius had transformed a modest craft into a weapon of unforeseen power. Their legacy, encoded in every circuit and algorithm, promised that every future challenge would be met with enhanced insight and unwavering resolve. There was a palpable sense of determination in that stillness, a quiet conviction that victory was not an end, but the opening chapter of a new struggle. The vessel's sensors meticulously documented every tactical error in the enemy's approach, every miscalculation that had allowed human ingenuity to prevail. These observations were destined to refine the art of adaptive warfare, ensuring that the lessons of this battle would lead to ever more precise and effective countermeasures in the future. Each fragment of enemy technology salvaged in the debris was, in its own way, a resource, a building block for innovation that would bolster the ship's capabilities in battles yet to come. Beneath the cold calculus of data analysis lay a profound moment of self-reflection that transcended the machine's programming. The vessel was more than an instrument of war. It was an enduring symbol of a people who had always believed that true strength lay not in overwhelming firepower, but in the power to adapt, learn, and overcome. Every evasive maneuver and each precisely timed counterstrike was a tribute to a history of perseverance, a history written by those who had dared to dream beyond the limits imposed by fate. In the quiet that followed the storm of battle, the ship stood as living proof that innovation, nurtured by relentless spirit, could transform even the most modest resources into instruments of destiny. As the craft sailed onward through the silent void, the scars of conflict slowly became emblems of hope rather than symbols of loss. Each damaged panel and every compromised sensor was a reminder that progress often came at a steep price, and that every setback carried within it the seeds of future victory. The ship's onboard systems, now busy reconstructing both physical and strategic integrity, worked with tireless determination to forge a path forward. This process of recovery was not a retreat into quiet isolation. It was a deliberate, thoughtful recalibration, a promise that every lesson learned would illuminate the road ahead, ensuring that the spirit of innovation would never again be underestimated. The transformation of the vessel's purpose was evident in the data streaming through its circuits, a record of the enemy's collapse, a ledger of tactical breakthroughs, and a blueprint for battles yet to be fought. It was a future-focused narrative, one that spoke of challenges on the horizon and the unwavering resolve to meet them head-on. The ship's adaptive systems had proven that even in the heart of chaos, there existed a capacity to evolve, to harness the very energy of conflict as fuel for progress. In every pulse of its thrusters and in every recalibrated sensor reading lay a promise that humanity's relentless ingenuity would continue to redefine what was possible, turning every moment of adversity into an opportunity for rebirth. The silence of space, punctuated by the distant glimmers of dying enemy vessels and the steady radiance of the human craft, resonated with an undercurrent of promise. It was a moment where the brutal truths of warfare yielded to a deeper, more enduring vision, a vision where each victory, however hard-fought, was only a prelude to the future. The ship, with its quiet dignity and unyielding technological prowess, had emerged not only as a victor, but as a beacon of what was achievable when a species refused to surrender to despair. Every spark of energy, every pulse of adaptive firepower, testified to a spirit that could neither be measured by conventional might nor confined by outdated expectations. In this reflective silence, the legacy of the battle was inscribed into the very fabric of the vessel's being. The craft sailed on, its damage yet determined form a symbol of resilience and an enduring promise of renewal. It carried with it the hard-won wisdom of conflict, a compendium of lessons that would guide future generations in their own quest for survival and triumph. The journey was far from over. Each star that dotted the endless expanse ahead beckoned with new challenges and the potential for further transformation. The human vessel, undeterred by the scars of its past, pressed forward into the darkness, its course set by the unwavering light of innovation and the belief that every ending was simply the threshold of another beginning. In the vast quiet of space, where time itself seemed to hold its breath, the ship continued its solitary voyage, an enduring emblem of hope, resilience, and the unquenchable thirst for progress. Its legacy, etched in the silent record of battle and the determined pulse of its systems, would inspire those who came after to push the boundaries of what was thought possible. With every calculated maneuver and every adaptive countermeasure, the vessel declared that the spirit of humanity, forged in the crucible of adversity, was destined to illuminate even the darkest reaches of the cosmos. And so, amidst the silence and the scattered remnants of conflict, the human craft sailed on, undaunted, ever adaptive, and a living promise of a future reimagined through the unyielding power of human ingenuity.